everybody? Tyre Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully everyone's doing well, having a good start, having a good portion of the week. It's kind of weird that we're still only in Thursday. It just feels like it's been so much longer, especially with these two storm systems that we've been dealing with. That being said, we're bright and early with another update on the current storm system that's about to roll in here. So buckle your seatbelt, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. It's going to be a shorter video, thankfully, for you guys and for me, because those 30-minute videos can be kind of challenging at times. Do enjoy them, though. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into things. The first thing to make note of, day one enhanced risk now. So I did see a little something with the setup last night, mainly towards this point right here. And it looks like I was pretty close to accurate as far as what the SBC is seeing. I guess we're seeing the same things, which is great. And another thing to make note of with this update here also is not only is there an enhanced risk, but every hazard type, tornado, wind, and hail, there's now, well, wind actually doesn't have a hatch risk here, but tornado and hail now has a 15% hatch risk area, which I find very intriguing. The wind threat, however, has not yet. I do think that's going to evolve down the line, though. And with tomorrow's threat, now we can actually take a look at the hazard types. Another thing to make note of is because of that tilt orientation with the trough, there is a much bigger hail threat with this than what we saw with this last system. But then again, like I said, we saw surprises out of that last system. Wouldn't surprise me to see the same thing with this one. But the wind and the tornado threat both now have hatched risk. I've also seen a little bit of a push for the wind threat being a little further to the north. This, however, does not really surprise me too much, considering the fact that just with the overall wind energy of this system, due to its strength, and then the heavy negative tilt orientation that we're still seeing, that this will come into play here. But tornado threat, of course, I think would still be a little further to the south. I'm still uncertain about prefrontal. I still think it's possible, but I'm definitely seeing a push towards maybe more of a linear event, which would heavily favor damaging winds. But with the kinematics in place, it wouldn't surprise me to see a stronger tornado possible. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and quickly run through some model data. It's not like we're going to be looking at a whole bunch here, but this is a general idea of what we have going on here with our trough here. Here's our trough at about at about 12 o'clock Eastern time, or 11 o'clock Eastern. As time goes on here, we're eventually going to see business begin to pick up in the overnight hours. Unfortunately, I'm very concerned about that threat here, especially since we see this little key characteristic of ski jump here. Already got a negative tilt orientation, but look how much this deepens as the mid-level trough here progresses off to the east here. Start to see a low begin to develop here at this point. And like I said, I do think we could see a couple of rounds here. Really, like I said, the question is going to be to the south. I think too much convection will come into play, and I think it'll maybe limit the storms. And then on top of that, a lack of instability is not going to do any favors for it. However, I'm still not going to quite rule out the potential for maybe a couple of prefrontal cells. It wouldn't surprise me if it did. I mean, it's going to look a lot like the storm system we had earlier this week, I feel like, just based off of what I'm seeing with model data. We'd still see key signs of the divergence and convergence, in particular right across the northern tier of this little jump right here. It's almost like you see two different ski jumps. So you could see maybe some storms out ahead of this, but like I said, I think the greatest activity is mainly going to be on the line, right on the front itself. And before we know it, we'll see that storm system roll out of here. And here's a look also at the 850s. This is when business will start to pick up a little bit. I'm definitely thinking right around 03 to 04Z will probably when we will have the chance for some stronger tornadoes, probably today. Then tomorrow, of course, it's going to be pretty much on that squall, on what's likely to be a squall line, or maybe even a bow echo. We'll see what happens with it. But either way, it looks like it's going to be mainly in a linear mode more than anything else right now. Still not quite going back, like I said, still not quite sold on there being no prefrontal, but there's a chance that that may not happen. In fact, there's a decent chance it may not happen. But I'm still side-eyeing it, I guess you could say. So here's some further evidence to kind of back what me and some of the other guys on Discord have been talking about, and sometimes we even talk about in the comments on YouTube. But here's the original look at what seems to be a dry line beginning to develop, but we just kind of lose it a little bit as time goes on, and I think that's going to be another inhibiting factor with the prefrontal here. Like I said, there is a zone here that I'm interested in, but there's not a lot of backing with the winds either, which is kind of making things a little bit more difficult here. Like I said, with these winter setups, you can see a lot of impressive things, but there's also other environmental parameters that can be missing as well. Like I said, you have good instability here, but over here towards the 0 to 3 and beyond, there's just not a lot of backing at that point. Definitely, and you can even see it from 0 to 3. It kind of has that linear look to it, so I'm kind of pushing more toward, I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards maybe the linear mode, if anything, but it's not to say that we still can't get tornadoes out of that. So definitely don't want to let your guard down just because there may or may not be prefrontal cells. In fact, QLCS tornadoes are honestly some of the more dangerous ones in my opinion, because they can still be strong, but more often than not, those like to be rain wrapped as well. So that being said, not really much to change as far as the mindset here in regards to the threat level. Still, I think it's still pretty palpable to say the least. So, seen a little bit of an uptick here in the instability here in this area now. I'm actually looking at these models for the first time this morning. I literally woke up and I got ready to start this video. This almost even has a look like a cold core tries to develop, but I kind of think this SQT is a little bit bogus considering the fact that we have a lot of inhibition here. So I'm not sure if I buy that, but as time goes on here, like I said, instability kind of drops off. It's really not going to be further unless we're looking a little further to the south here where we have that increased instability. But that lack of backing there, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for storms to fire out ahead of the main line. I really think it's going to be pretty much right up against the front. So we'll see what happens there. But across the board here, and we're also going to look at the wintry weather here. We did a pretty thorough look at the wintry side of things last night. But here's a little recap as to what we could see later tonight. That's another thing we're going to be looking at, is that snowfall being on the rise. Eventually we see those storms begin to pop right around 07 to 08 Z, especially with the linear mode beginning to take shape and really evolving by the time we get towards about 5, 6, maybe even 7 a.m. Eastern time. Like I said, I do see a little bit of potential for some prefrontal convection, but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's not something I'm willing to fully latch on into and just say this will happen right now. You don't want to make I don't want to make a wrong forecast here, but this kind of setup is very tricky at times. Here's that wintry precipitation, and that really impressive snow shield, or as I want to even call it, snow sleeve right here, where we could see some heavy snow. So look out, Detroit, Chicago, could get battered with some winter weather here. Eventually, though, what ends up happening is it does look like there's a chance that you could switch back over to rain, maybe even some freezing rain before all is said and done. Do I think anything significant will come of it? Not really. But still, we need to be on the lookout for some heavy snow and maybe a little bit of ice here. And then on top of that, we also have been mentioning the lake effect threat. That could be there as well. And with this here, I do have a little bit of curiosity as to whether or not these lakes will be warm and will increase the snowfall. In fact, I think it's very possible. But that being said, we'll call this one a video for now, and we'll be getting ready to maybe make an update video and possibly stream in the early morning hours. Friday, like I said, still kind of sketchy considering the fact that I'm probably going to have to work. It probably be a short day, but still I have to get my check and all that other stuff, and maybe might be having to share the car with some people tomorrow. So it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not we'll stream Friday. I'm hoping that we can, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But until the next video, see you soon. It's been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. Keep those horns up, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.